not gonna risk shit-talking Mr. Beast, because that never ends well. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi. This lighting sucks. Okay. Hi. This is completely goofy. I don't know how to start. Hello. Welcome to the first episode of my podcast, coming to you from my bedroom. Literally just my bedroom. It is 6:30 p.m. Friday the 13th. Sun is going down. We're probably going to be like rapidly losing light. And yeah, I'm so excited. This YouTube channel has been completely dead for probably like fucking over a year, I think. And I just felt like getting back into it. It has just genuinely been such a long time since I have like put in to like a creative hobby outside of work. And I don't know, man. I just feel like now is the time. I just feel like now is the time yet again. Like, I am in a really great mood. My mental health is like the best it's been in a really, really long time. So that's exciting. And I don't know. I'm just looking forward to like having a creative outlet again. This YouTube channel is extremely all over the place just because it's kind of been like my everything channel. People who are like, they take YouTube seriously and they do it with the intention, like they have the goal of making a career out of it, would completely not advise you to do what I'm doing right now. Have y'all ever watched Colin and Samar? If you haven't, you fucking should, because they are like a really great duo, and I love listening to their podcasts. They'll like interview like really famous YouTubers, but like their whole thing is like talking about it from an extremely like analytical perspective of like, what is the formula behind this YouTuber's success? And it's really, really cool because like he's interviewed a lot of big names. Like he's interviewed Mr. Beast, he's interviewed Try Guys, he's interviewed Rhett and Link, and I think he did Smosh. I don't remember, but like it's really, really fascinating to see like all of these different YouTubers that I've personally watched and hear like each of their like strategies for like their brand or whatever and how different they all are. I love that. I love looking at like entertainment and YouTube from like an analytical perspective. With that being said, it's very obvious based off of like the haphazard way that I've thrown things onto this channel that is not my intention. I have never wanted to be a professional YouTuber. I don't plan on this podcast going anywhere, getting any views. And I'm not just saying that. Like, if I fucking wanted to work from home and only sit in an editing bay and like have no life, I could have done that. Or sorry, like that sounds really mean, but like, actually, I completely redact that statement because I think being a YouTuber is like really great and it's a really, really wonderful and professional and legitimate career for some people. I am not those people because just like having your own business in that environment, in that context of like, A, having to appeal to the algorithms stresses me the fuck out and I don't want to have to deal with that. And B, I don't know, just like the hustle culture of it and also like the isolation aspect. Like I have personally, in my short career, I've only been like a professional at like what I do for like 2 years. Like I've had work from home moments. I've had work from home opportunities. Of the time that I've been in my career, I was full-time freelance for like about 2 or 3 months, maybe closer to 2 months than 3. But in that time, I've worked from home. I've done that. And it's just not for me, man. Like full-time work from home, I'm the kind of person where like, that's just like too isolating for me, I think. But then again, I am only 20 years old. Shit can change. A lot's probably gonna happen. Oh, fuck. a lot's probably going to happen to me that's going to change my perspective on what I value in a career. But for now, that's just not for me. For context, what I do is I've done a lot of things. I generally would say I work in creative service. Right now, I'm a professional After Effects animator. That's what I do. When I was freelancing, it was kind of like, anything that'll come to me, baby, I'll take it. Because I am young and desperate for money. So when I was freelancing, I was doing video editing, animation, graphic design, storyboard, art, illustration, and I still freelance on the side with my new job that I just started like a month ago. A little under a month? Under a month ago. That's crazy. Before that, I was freelancing, and before that, I was full-time just video editing at a studio. So, like, obviously, like, it's a very different context because I was doing, like, commercial work as opposed to YouTube-based work or, like, more narrative-based work. Like, I worked in advertising, you know what I mean? Like, that's, like, YouTube is a very different ball game, and I'm sure that if you have, like, a personal sense of agency in, like, the videos you're creating, as opposed to it just, like, being for somebody else, and having it be more passion-driven, that it's easier to, like, keep up with, and you'd be more motivated. But for me, right now, where I'm at in my life, I just don't see that ever happening, me being a full-time YouTuber. That was a really, really lengthy rant. I hope that made any sense. One fact about me is that I am extremely stream of conscious when I speak, and that could be great, or it could be like a major problem in this podcast, because I just have a way of like going and going and going, and I'm probably gonna like throw this into my editing software later and be like, this doesn't work at all, you change topics left and right, and this does not make any sense. But we'll see. That's why I'm doing this. This is like purely an experimentation, and it's also, as I have like mentioned, and I'll reiterate again, just for fun. So we'll see where it goes. See how much daylight we've already lost? I don't know if you can tell. I can definitely tell, because I think I'm also shooting this on my iPhone. Again, not taking this very seriously. But, like, the auto ISO on there, I don't know if it's gonna, like, affect you being able to, like, see the change. You also may just be listening to this, which I hope you do. Give me watch time, whatever. So yeah. I guess to switch gears, I'm gonna talk about, I don't know, I kind of already covered, like, why I don't want to make this professional, and why I don't intend, at least right now, to make a career out of this podcast. But maybe I'll talk for a minute, a little more in depth about, like, why the fuck I'm doing this, why I wanted to start in the first place. I'm probably gonna have to censor that. Do you have to censor swear words on YouTube now? I don't know. I don't fucking know. But anyways, why did I want to make a podcast? Why did I decide to start doing this? Forgive me, I'm gonna take a drink of water. Also, my roommates are watching Harry Potter outside, so if you hear that, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Sorry. So, 2 things I want to talk about with, like, why I decided to start doing this. As I already kind of touched on, sorry, holy shit. As I already kind of touched on, I have just been looking for a creative outlet that is personal and purely for me. So, my journey with my art and my creativity is really interesting. I wouldn't say uncommon. Well, I don't know about that. But it's definitely been interesting for me to like experience and kind of like reflect on. I have been working as a creative professional for 2.5 years almost. I've been working as a creative professional since June of 2021. It is now October of 2023. So that's like 2 years and however many months. Like 2 years, 4 months? June, July, August, September, October. Yeah. 2 years, 4 months. And it's the thing that nobody prepared me for. When I entered this, that I feel like maybe is kind of talked about, but definitely not enough, is when you monetize your hobby and you say, hey, I love being creative, I feel like I have a very artistic personality, whatever, XYZ. It's super, super easy to get so funneled into like the money part. You know what I mean? Once you start and you get that momentum and you realize, wow, people somehow do value what I do and people are willing to pay me money for this? Holy crap. And then you start to, without realizing it, let go of the art that is personal to you that you actually want to do. So here's an example. I started working editing videos full time, you know. When you do something for 40 hours a week plus, you know, depending on like overtime and like crazy production schedules or whatever, it's very, very difficult to find the motivation to do that outside of work. Because it starts to feel like you're just working. And then, you know, like when you go to your job, whatever it is, for you right now, whether you work at a grocery store, whether you work in like a corporate office, like clicking away, how do you feel when you're working? Meh. You're just like going through the motions, you know? And I think that there's this perception on the outside that like when you work as a creative, when you're like an artist, when you make videos, when you have like a really cool, unique, sought after job like that, that it's going to be fun all the time, that you're going to feel like you're having a great time every single moment that you're like doing what you do. It's the classic phrase, right? Like, work a job that you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. And I think that there's definitely truth in that. And I am unbelievably privileged to get to do what I do and support myself and not have to live with my parents anymore and to be doing something that I do love every single day and get paid for it. I'm so privileged. But with that being said, when you do anything, even if you really love it, when you do something repeatedly every single day for 2 years, it's going to get stale. And you're gonna end up just like you were at your old job. Click, click, working on the computer. Gotta get up and make this commute again. Gotta deal with office bullshit again. Gotta deal with my boss nagging on me again. Or whatever it be. Those are just like hypotheticals. I'm not trying to like slander the people I used to work with because everyone that I've worked for personally so far has been really, really great. And I'm very blessed to say that. Disclaimer out of the way. But yeah, anything that you do, and the danger of monetizing your hobbies is once you say, hey, I'm going to do this thing that I love for money, you are immediately signing off a portion of your agency and your creative work. And what I mean by that is once you say, hey, I'm going to use my time and my creative skill to deliver a project to somebody or art or a video or whatever, or an illustration or design, you know, what you're saying in that is, hey, I am going to sacrifice a little bit of my creative freedom because what you want in your art, what you want your art to be, doesn't matter anymore. Why? Because someone else is paying you to make something that they want. Their interest is what matters because it's their money. It sounds really simple when you spell it out that way, but it's really easy, I think, to go into this. At least I felt this way. A lot of people that I know personally also felt this way when they were getting into this line of work, where you kind of have these rose-tinted glasses and you have this idea of like, oh, I would give anything just to like edit videos. I would give anything just to like animate stuff. That would be so fun. But you don't think about it from that perspective because it's so easy to get tunneled into like the way creativity feels when you're just working on personal projects. It's so easy to get tunnel visioned into that and in the zone, but like once you get out there into the world and you start making projects that have a ton of revisions, when you work with clients that are really nitpicky and they don't like parts of your work and you're forced to change it, when you make a decision and you get like a little bit emotionally invested in it and you're like, hey, I worked really hard on this. Look, client, and they shut it all down and they ask you to start from scratch, that gets disheartening. And those little moments chip away at you over time. They chip away at your creativity. They make you get burnt out. I am 2 years into this, I've already experienced burnout. It's so common. People talk about it, and I feel really lucky to grow up in a generation of people and of creatives that are super open about mental health, and they're super transparent about some of the negative sides of the industry, and maybe not enough. I think we still have like a lot of work to go with like true transparency about like, hey, this is the reality of working in creative services, because it's hard. It isn't always easy. It isn't always fun. But I feel really lucky that I watched a lot of YouTubers and other people, like I had influences in my life who helped to give me some tools to like manage my burnout better. So it never really got bad. It never got to the point where I was truly like unable to work or I truly had to take an extended break. Honestly, like I think that having my freelance period helped because I had a little bit of savings and I was taking on projects and work was slower than when I was full-time. So that gave me a little bit of space that I needed way more than I realized to like recharge and reassess like, okay, what do I want to do creatively really? And that helped me out a lot to like not really hit rock bottom, but like, you know, I'm still like super like new to this career generally, so maybe it will get worse, maybe it will get bad. But for now, like things are stable, and at my new job, things could change, who knows? I'm only a month in, but at my new job, I'm way happier, and I feel like I see like a way better path for fulfillment than the trajectory I was on before. At my old job, no slander at all to my old boss, because he was such a great mentor to me and he helped me out in so many unimaginable ways and helping me to like get my start. But I just feel like way more put together now than I was even like 3 or 4 months ago. I was a mess. So I don't know. I'm just really excited to like move forward, and I'm really grateful for all the steps in my journey so far. That was another like rant. I don't even remember what I was talking about. I think I was talking about like the nature of burnout. What else did I hit on? I hope that I get better at this like stream of consciousness like conversation thing. Maybe it would help if I like take notes about what I'm talking about. This is highly experimental. So, I don't know. But yeah, I think that I said all of that with the intention of getting around to the idea that because And this is something that you may have heard people say before. This is something that I've heard people say before, and I didn't used to believe it. And now, after going through like a mini burnout period, I understand it better. That because creative work can be really taxing on your psyche, and it can be really taxing on like your personal creativity to like do art as a job, it's really, really important to keep that spirit alive by having personal projects. And that's what this podcast is meant to be. It's meant to be like a personal creative outlet. It's meant to be like a very like raw, emotionally expressive outlet where I can just share my thoughts and like post it somewhere maybe, and just have a project that I can focus on and work on that is separate from anything I'm getting paid for. And that's why I don't think I'm ever going to try to monetize this. I might, but it's really, really important for me to like protect this, at least for now, if I choose to continue, as like a safe space that I can just be myself and I don't have to like put money behind it, because in my experience with every single one of my hobbies and creative passions that I've tried to monetize so far, it's really, really easy for them to just turn into something that I don't like. Not that I don't like editing videos anymore, because I do. Not that I don't like making animations anymore, because I do. But it just changes. And I'm really lucky that, I don't know. I'm not going to like continue that train of thought. But yeah. That's why I'm making this podcast. That's a big goal of mine. Okay. We're 20 minutes in. I'm going to take a little water break to rest my voice. And I'm also going to take a break so that I can like reset my camera and stuff. And we're going to see how this continues to go. So, yeah. We'll be right back after this short break. Hello, and welcome back to the second half of this podcast. You can really see how dark it's getting outside now, and the lighting might be different, the camera angle might be slightly different, because I had to like readjust. It actually took way less time to download the footage than I thought it would, probably because this iPhone camera quality is extremely shitty. I was looking at it, and it's just like ripped. It's just crusty, and the footage looks crusty. But guess what? I don't give a fuck. I do not care. I don't care. Because, as I've already mentioned, this is just a little hobby, silly little thing I'm doing for fun. You hear that? They're watching Harry Potter outside. They're watching a really loud scene, apparently. I don't know if you can hear that. Anyways, I took a little break. I stretched my legs, got some more water. And, yeah. So, getting back into, and I don't want to be a broken record. I don't want to be like overly repeating myself. But like the second reason why I was inspired to start this podcast, other than just like all the bullshit I already mentioned about like having an outlet and having a fun way to like reinvigorate my creativity every day. Why the fuck am I doing this? And the answer is, I have been so incredibly inspired recently by Brittany Broski and like her podcast, The Broski Report. I love it. I have been obsessed. I've listened to every single episode. Not as they've come out. I kind of got into it a little later. I followed her on TikTok a little bit, but I just was never really a TikTok girly. I think you have to have like a certain gene, like a certain genetic makeup to really be like into TikTok and like on TikTok. Like I've gone through phases where I'm like really like basically addicted to TikTok, and then phases where I'm not, but like, I don't know, right now I'm just not into it. YouTube though is very different. Like I am so addicted to YouTube, man. Like anything that comes on YouTube, I'm watching it. I'm snatching that up. So anyways, as soon as she got on YouTube and she started her like podcast and she began uploading videos more regularly, I was into it. I was here for it. And I just am genuinely so inspired by her work because, I don't know, it's just like, there's some people, I was listening to this podcast with Mr. Beast, and like, I don't really watch Mr. Beast's videos. I've watched them a little bit, but I love watching the way that he like talks about his videos more so than actually watching his videos, if that makes sense. Like, I love hearing him talk about his work more so than actually watching his work. That might sound bad, but he said something in this podcast one time that was like basically along the lines of, there's some people on this platform who have a personality and they're just naturally like good, like personally wise, and they're really inviting or whatever. And then there's some people who have to like, and he said it in a way that I thought was like, that I personally read as like maybe slightly condescending. I don't know. Actually, no, I'm not gonna risk shit talking Mr. Beast because that never ends well. But like, basically what he said was, there's some people who have like good personalities and they're like naturally really good in front of the camera, and then other people who have to work towards that and who have to like learn, you know, they have to like learn how to be good in front of the camera. And I thought that was really, really true. And I think Brittany is one of those people, man, where like she just has this natural presence and this natural ability to hold people's attention. That's crazy. I admire that so much. And it's not just like comedic, you know, because there's some people that are like that, where like they're really good at comedy, but when they try to be serious, it doesn't come across well. Her creative talent and the thing that's so special about her work, I think, that is so unique in this scene, at least from my perspective, is her ability to switch so seamlessly from making you laugh to like literally making you cry. I have cried at some of her episodes because she just has this way of being like so personable and so like vulnerable in what she speaks about, while also being incredibly engaging and witty. And she's so insightful. And I really admire that. She is so personable, like as a human, and she's so like vulnerable in like talking about the things that it feels like other women are not willing to talk about. And if you know, you know. If you watched it, if you listened to it, you know. But it's just like being really like vulnerable and open about like female sexuality is something that I personally really like in her podcast, man, because it's like she's saying what we're all thinking. She's saying what we're all thinking. And it's so, I think, refreshing and so comforting for all of us women, especially for me, because I wouldn't say that I grew up in purity culture, but I grew up very purity culture adjacent, just due to the nature of my conservative community that I come from. So to watch and listen to a creator that is so vulnerable and open about just all of those personal aspects of her life, as well as her relationship with the church and religion, and just all of it kind of culminating to create like, I don't know, just a really, really wonderful thing to listen to for me. And I understand that like some of the more like sexual nature of what she talks about is probably inherently alienating to a lot of people, and it probably does make a lot of people uncomfortable. And, you know, I think that's a valid critique of her work. And I think that, you know, like there are some times where you can like point at things that she has said and you could say, maybe that does cross a line a little bit. Maybe that does cross a boundary a little bit. And I think that's a valid critique. I don't want to like make a judgment call on what the final answer is with that. But generally, I really love her stuff. And I really, really have just like been in a phase of listening to her podcast, and I've been really inspired by it, and it's really made me want to start doing this shit for myself, you know? So yeah, that's the number 2 reason of why I'm doing this. So I guess to kind of like wrap things up, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my plan, ? Moving forward with this, and sort of like where I want to go with this. So I'm not going to make any promises about like specific upload times, because I think that as I've already mentioned, this is a hobby for me. I don't plan on like being like, oh, I'm going to upload every single week, or I'm going to upload every like other day or something crazy like that. And I also think that like a lot of creators do shoot themselves in the foot by making statements like that, because when you set an expectation for your audience, especially if you're someone like me where like you're just starting out and like I have a job and like other commitments and like family and friends I'm trying to see outside of doing this, like I'm not in a place in my life where like I want to like prioritize this over like other areas in my life. So I'm not going to make any promises that I'm going to be like super consistent or super regular. Likely I will be in the beginning, because at least for me, when I start new creative projects, really curious to find out if other people are like this, but when I start new creative projects, it's really easy to have like this big momentum of like, yeah, like I want to move forward with this. Like that kind of peak of interest of like a project being new and novel and fun, and then you kind of like dip out. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But for now, I'm not promising anything. If editing these podcasts is going to be as easy and like kind of templatized as I intend to make it, it could be like set up to be pretty consistent, because the number one thing that I have struggled with when I've tried to make just regular YouTube videos in the past is getting so caught up on like crafting the perfect narrative of what I'm gonna say, you know, and like, oh, that doesn't sound right, or oh, that part doesn't make sense, or oh, that part's like way too mixed up, and then I'll like take everything I said at the end and put it at the beginning and edit it down, and then I have like a 5-minute video that I look back on in a year and still doesn't even make sense and is boring to watch. And that's why I think making a podcast has been like, right now, at least, so attractive to me, is because there isn't pressure of being edited, there isn't pressure of being polished. It's just you and the camera, baby. You and the mic. You sharing your thoughts. And not having to conform to, like, making an engaging, snappy video. Because I would say, like, maybe the last video previously to this one that I did, I think I did a video about like art school or something, and like a retrospective of like why I decided to not go to art school, which maybe would be like a really great video to do an in-depth podcast about next episode, especially since I am 2 years into working creatively, professionally without going to art school. That might be a really great subject for like next episode or something. But I don't want everything I say to be about work. You know what I mean? I want this to also be like fucking like fun and just talking about cool stuff too, you know? I want to talk about fun stuff, not just work. So, anyways, getting back like to what I was talking about before, that video, was like, it took me so many hours to edit, dude. And to get down to like this 5-minute or so video that I'm still not even like very happy with the outcome of, if I'm being like honest. Not like I hate it. I haven't watched it in a long time. I probably would cringe if I rewatch it. But yeah, I don't enjoy making videos like that. I don't enjoy like over editing and like overdoing it and blah blah blah, you know? My favorite part is sitting in front of the camera and like being real. Like, of the YouTube videos that I've made just for fun in the past, that's been my favorite part, is just like the stream of consciousness, like putting my energy in up front. So I think that the podcast format sounds really appealing and really palatable to me, simply because you have the freedom to just like go ham when you're recording and then edit it later, get shit done later. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my goal. That's my headspace with this, is I'm going to have like a project file template, and I'm literally going to have saved like all my audio effects and stuff that I'm going to use, and all of my like color correcting if I bother to color correct this footage. It's really low quality to begin with, so I might just say fuck it. But yeah, I think that this format sounds really, really fun and appealing to me. And it could help me to stay more consistent. So yeah. Sorry, I gotta wipe my nose there. Also, I don't know if you could tell in this podcast, but I'm getting over a sickness. I was sick for like 2 days. It was also really weird. It's the shortest amount of time I've ever been sick in my life. Straight up. That's me being honest. I usually will get sick for like a week, like 4 to 5 days. But this must be something I've caught before, because I literally was sick for like a day and a half. And then it was done, and I was like, oh. Or like it kind of came on slowly. Like I had some congestion, on like Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I was like actually sick. And then this morning I woke up and I was like perfectly better. But I still might have like a little bit of phlegm coming in. So if you hear that, also I need to take a drink of water. If you hear the phlegm coming in, yeah, sorry. Might be a little gross. If I'm gonna keep doing this, I need to learn how to take a fucking breath. Because as you probably can tell based off of the last 40 minutes or however long this podcast is, I have a literal problem with just talking, blah, blah, blah. That's why I want to start a podcast, because I just talk way too much. But I think that I could be more conscious about like having pauses between what I say so that it actually makes sense what I'm talking about. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. But anyways, yeah. Okay. It's 7:23. I want to wait to stop recording until 7:30. What do we want to talk about for the last 7 minutes, you guys? We talk about anything. Oh yeah, I was talking about other future goals, like moving forward with this podcast. I don't know. I feel like I kind of touched on a lot of the big stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do for thumbnails. I don't know what I'm going to do for, like, all the little details and stuff like that. I'm really just excited to, like, get in and get, like, the audio for this done. My little secret ingredient that I'll share with you guys that's going to make this way fucking easier for me in the long term is Adobe Podcast Editor, dude. I don't know if you guys know about this. It's one of the, like, AI tools that, like, Adobe just released that's, like, part of their like Adobe Firefly package or something, I think. If you have like full access to the Adobe Creative Suite, you already have access to this BTW. But basically what it is it's a really, really effective like auto like noise reducer and like room tone reducer. Sorry, I just got an email from TikTok. That's the one thing that sucks about recording on your phone is like notifications popping up. It annoys the shit out of me. But, yeah, Adobe Podcast Editor is really, really helpful because you literally just drag it in and it does a really, really amazing job of giving you like a really, really solid starting base. I'll usually like add a couple effects in on top of it. Like I'll still add an EQ and a compressor. And like a couple other things, maybe like a little bit of a de-esser as well. But it takes away a lot of the need for like getting rid of room tone and getting rid of that like echoey, boxy sound when you're recording in a space like this that doesn't have like soundproofing. I don't know why it took me so long to find that word, but it really is amazing. And I think it's a great example of like AI tools that are actually genuinely like helpful. I have been in the bad habit of getting really, really threatened by AI tools and seeing them as something that's really scary. AI tools is actually like, I think a big part of the reason why I went through like a mini burnout / depression in 2022 is because it was so scary, man, because I felt genuinely so lost. Like, oh my God, what if these tools prevent me from ever being able to get a job? Like, they're developing so quickly. What if I just blah, 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 you know? Especially like the economy going the way it's going anyway. Like, I'm just gonna, like, everything that I've ever worked for, my entire identity has been like creating art. What's gonna happen if like AI reaches a point where I'm replaceable? Which my attitude about it, dude, has changed so much about it now. That sounded really mixed up. My attitude about AI has gotten so much better. I'm way more at peace with it because even though it feels really daunting and it's really, really scary, especially as a person who originally wanted to be an illustrator. I originally wanted to create digital art, like paintings and drawings, and I wanted to do animation. I wanted to work in the animation industry. It was really daunting. It was really, really discouraging to see like Midjourney come out and it could create these amazing works of digital art that are better than the art that I've been trying to like figure out how to create since I was like 11, man. Since I first got my like ever digital drawing tablet and been drawing for like years and years and years. It was so discouraging to like, and as cool as it is that tool exists, it was so discouraging to like see what you're up against. It's discouraging enough to like be competing against other people who are really talented, but to compete against fucking computers, that's another level, and I lost it. I was so distraught when Midjourney dropped. But my attitude has gotten so much better about it because A, technology changing is a way of life. And we can't control the future. We can't control it. The best we can do is make what we can and make what we love right now with the tools that we have and try to leverage the tools when they're helpful, you know, like using the Adobe Podcast Editor to leverage technology to do the parts we don't want to do. And also, I've come through like a really big like character arc over the past year of just like my relationship with like art and money and capitalist society, and me kind of learning to disconnect and say, hey, my creations have value outside of what my client dictates. My creative projects have value outside of how much money I can make off of them. Just because we might live in a future where nobody would ever pay me to do an animation for them, nobody would ever pay me to do a drawing for them, even if they are right now, you know, just because that future exists, potentially, that doesn't make my art less valuable, because I should be creating art for me. First and foremost, you know, that's not realistic when it comes to client projects, but like when it comes to like my art that I want to do in my free time, just because Midjourney exists, that doesn't mean that I should stop creating. Like, you know what I mean? Like, art and the creation of art is about self-expression. It's about your personal journey. It's about, for me, art has always been about creating things and like expressing emotions that you can't express in other ways, that you can't just express like talking to your friends, that you can't just express like in other areas of your life. You go to art. You go to making a podcast. You go to like making a painting, or like I've done, as I've mentioned, I've done like illustration and animation and stuff. And the freedom that comes in that self-expression does not go away just because a digital tool exists that can do it technically better. You know? And I'm not going to get into like the whole philosophy of like, is AI art real art? We don't have time for that today. I got to wrap this up soon, but I don't know. I'm just in a way better headspace now. When it comes to all that stuff. And is there still like logical reason to be worried about my job security? Yeah. Will I be able to do what I'm doing as a career forever? I don't know, but let's think about it this way. There's a lot of people who were like teenagers in 2006 that in 2016 became like professional YouTubers. That wasn't a job that existed. So 10 years from now, in 2033, who knows what careers could exist for me that I could thrive in that don't even exist yet, that AI or like the development of whatever new technology is going to make possible. So I just feel like way more open, and I feel like really, really open to like the idea of change right now. I feel really, really ready and prepared and just secure in the idea of change and technology changing and whatever else. And the change that this podcast is going to bring to my life and whatever else. So, yeah. I think that's a really positive note to end on. I know I made it sound like I was going to end this thing like 20 minutes ago, but yeah, that was a great first episode. That was way better than I thought it was going to be. Maybe I'll throw this in my editing software and I'll be like, man, this is shit. But I don't know. It's really intimidating to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to talk at myself for 20 minutes, 40 minutes and see what happens. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it stretch that long, but somehow I was able to. So we'll see, man. We'll see where this goes. Anyways, I hope you have a great day, a great weekend, a great whenever the heck you're watching this. I hope you feel really energized and just ready to continue with your life, and that this was bearable to listen to at the very least. Yeah, I'm gonna go make dinner and probably edit this and just chill, man. I'm so excited. I have a freelance illustration project to work on this weekend that I really need to get to because I've kind of been procrastinating it. Shh, don't tell anybody. But I'm going to do that this weekend and probably upload this. My goal is to upload this on like Sunday. Yeah, let's say Sunday. Fuck it. Yeah. My goal is to upload this on Sunday, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So, anyways, I have a bad habit of saying that. So anyways, yeah, this has been episode run. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to end this, dude. This has been episode 1. That's a wrap. Bye.